Victoria City Expats Club is a non-profit social organisation and our speakers are volunteers. The club as such assumes no responsibility or liability for the professional reputation of or the quality of services provided by the speaker today. Resolutions.
Yeah. Hey, well done, guys. So, New Year's tech resolutions. This guy's making a New Year's tech resolution. He's got his phone out and he's tapping on his phone. Spend less time on my phone. New Year's tech resolution, okay? So, the number one New Year's tech resolution which you must have, must make, and this includes me, is, let's start with a question. Who here lives by themselves, lives alone? Okay? Who here knows someone they're very fond of, a friend, who lives by themselves? If you know me and you like me, you would have just put your hand up so I can tell the people who don't like me now. All right. The number one New Year's tech resolution which you must make is, I will use tech to look after the people I care about, including me. Health is number one. So let me tell you a story. I gave a story about some of this, talk about some of this before. I was in a daily check-in group. We check on each other every day. There was 3 of us, one of which was a member of this club, a female. She didn't check in at the usual time. Because she was part of a daily check-in group, she ended up in hospital that day. If she had not been part of a daily check-in group, she would have gone, she could have laid there for days, gone into a diabetic coma, died. Horrible way to die. She slipped over near her bed, away from her phone. Start a daily check-in chat group. It's not rocket science. 3 people is an ideal number. At least one of these lives nearby you and has keys to where you live. You have to check in by a certain time every day or make a donation to charity. Starting a daily check-in group. It could be on Facebook Messenger, it could be online, it could be on WhatsApp. You just check in, I'm fine, I'm great, blah, 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 by 10 o'clock in the morning or something. You don't know how to start a daily check-in chat group? Go on YouTube and you search start, whatever it is, Facebook chat group, Messenger chat book, Line chat group, and there'll be some video there that explains you how to do it in 2 minutes. You think this cannot happen to you. You think, oh, I'll be all right. Oh, my friend will be all right. This message was sent to me a couple of months ago. I have spent the day at Memorial Hospital with my New Zealand friend who I was worried about. We broke down the door and he was semi-conscious, delirious, blood from anus, etc. Been like that for at least 3 days. Did all the first aid I know, ambulance, intensive care. He is cluster-fucked and he may die. We need to look after our mates, especially here. I don't think him being there for 3 days on his toilet with his anus bleeding is a good resolution. Right? I don't think that's a good result. And yet, it's better than what would have happened if they hadn't broken down the door. You have a friend you really care about, and this is how they go. He did die, by the way. Look in the mirror. You didn't care about them enough to start up a check-in group. I'm serious about this. We saved somebody's life by having a check-in group, and you could do the same. Cost, 0. Second thing, Phones like this Samsung phone, they have an SOS emergency thing. This is worth learning about. You press the button 3 times, say there's 4 people on your emergency check-in group, it will phone them automatically, it will send your location, it will send photos that's taken front and back, and it will send 5 seconds of audio, right? This could save your life. Now, I have to do this because I had this on my old phone. This is a new phone. It's a few weeks old. I have to set this up myself. So that's one of my New Year's resolutions. Again, if you don't know how to do it, you go to YouTube or Google and you search set up emergency SOS on whatever it is, iPhone, Samsung Galaxy, whatever it is. And this is a really, really nice explanation of it, very clear for Galaxy smartphones. Probably works for all Android actually, and we'll put the link on that in the next newsletter. New Year's Tech Resolution number 2. I will look after the person who depends on me the most, which may be me. Story. Joey gave a talk here a few years ago. He used to be a monk. He had monk's robes on when he gave the talk, orange monk's robes. He inherited $2 million US. Could have been driving around in a Lamborghini here. Instead, he's on a motorbike. Makes no sense to me. Smashes himself up. Brain damage, meningitis. He's got all this money, cannot remember his ATM number, cannot make a signature, cannot remember his Google password. I'm sure Bud's going to touch on some of this, how to protect yourself from that. A very common bugbear with Kelvin Banfield. People die. They have someone who's dependent on them, for instance, a Thai woman or a Thai guy or whatever, and that person cannot access any money until the probate, which can take take months and months, right? So again, this isn't rocket science. What happens if you're incapacitated or die? Share your ATM number with your best friend, okay? Someone you trust, okay? Your ATM card will be in one place. This friend with an ATM number will be in another place. You die or incapacitated, the two can be put together to look after the people you love, one of which could be you. Again, this is not rocket science. I'm sure Bud's got some suggestions relevant to this as well. New Year's Tech Resolution number 3. I will subscribe to the PCEC YouTube channel, right? There's golden information there. One time we had this guy give a talk, and one of our members stood up and said, "Wow, that was a fantastic talk, but I couldn't quite gather it all." And I said, "Look, the videos are on YouTube, right? You just go through the video and you can pause it and stuff." And he said, "Oh, I don't know how to use YouTube." You go to YouTube and you press on a video, that's how you use it. To subscribe to the PCEC's YouTube channel, go to YouTube, search PCEC space club, hit subscribe. And there's golden information. We get a lot of gold information about health matters as well. And it comes up to something like this. You click on the videos and you'll see all the videos. All right? So, with all due respect to Bud, I would think you'd agree that there's no more important New Year's tech resolution than this one, right? Use tech to look after the people you care about, including you. Start a daily check-in group. Set up your emergency numbers. Give an ATM number to your best friend that's separate from the actual card. Not rocket science. This is like a 9-minute talk. I'm pretty sure you're not going to hear a more important 9 minutes in the talks this year. Don't think this couldn't be you sitting on the toilet for 3 days if you live by yourself, or your best friend could happen to your best friend. So I hope, this is one resolution you take seriously in terms of the chat up groups and the emergency numbers. All right, and that's my done. I'm going to hand over to somebody who's much more tech savvy than I am. Come on, Bud.
Thank you, Ren. Year to everyone. It'll be a healthy, safe, and successful New Year. Could you go back to the first slide, please? Bear with me for a moment. So again, if you couldn't hear me, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone will have a successful, healthy New Year, and we hope the COVID situation gets resolved soon. Who would have guessed 5 years ago how society and technology has changed over the last 5 years? So I'm going to make some suggestions on what we can do to improve the quality of our life and the people around us for a New Year's resolution. As I mentioned, or Ren mentioned, I was asked to do this last minute. I apologize. It's not put together as well as I normally would. When I started thinking about New Year's resolution for tech and how to improve the quality of your life, I could talk for hours on this topic. I recall doing a training class a few years ago where it was 64 hours of training called A Brief Overview of Post-Based Security. I won't put you through that kind of torture, but just so you know, we're just touching on some subjects that I hope will motivate you to learn more and see that while technology is changing very quickly, it is becoming more easy to use, more intuitive, and what sounds like some very complicated technical solutions or problems actually are not that hard anymore. So we all have our expected New Year's resolutions we've done year after year. Some of them get done, some of them don't. I'm going to suggest we try to use technology to our advantage and get those New Year's resolutions done. Could you flip to the next page? I'll just call it off. That's fine. Okay, let's bear with it for a moment. So I'm going to move on to my next topic here. So the two resolutions I'm going to recommend are use technology to improve the quality of your life. One size does not fit all. All of us have unique interests in what we do. So although many friends may recommend using different tools, some are very popular, please understand these need to be customized to whatever your personal interests are and what improves the quality of your life. Make the technology work for you. Don't make your life fit the technology. And the second resolution I would recommend is anytime you're using technology today, you're at risk of your data being hacked or compromised in some way. Having knowledge of what is dangerous, how to protect yourself is critical today, more critical than ever in the past. So I'm going to cover some basic concepts of how to protect yourself while you're online. Still waiting for the slides to advance. Again, I'm going to continue on just a slight overview of who I am while I'm waiting. I'm a cybersecurity engineer. Many of you may not know what that means, but I basically identify issues with large companies, corporations, governments, when they have a problem or they need a consultant to have an idea what is a security concern. Most of the time they don't contact me until they know something's already broken. So when they see me, they're not always that happy. I have to identify how much their data has been compromised, how to resolve these, tell them their backup system they had in place didn't work or only partially worked, and it's quite expensive to fix these problems. So in my background, I've done a lot of virtually everything in the last 18 years, from database recoveries to redesigning government networks, personal networks, small businesses, how to identify do computer forensics to identify internal problems in a company, political ramifications of all that. In the end, it's just far easier to protect yourself, so I'm hoping we can learn from a lot of my experiences and share that with you on a personal level of what can really make the biggest difference to give you some security on your computers. And also I want to cover some tools that I think are very useful for all of us today, especially here in Padia, to better our life using different applications and tools and use them safely. Okay, I'll wing it. So we all have phones. Some of us have Apple, Macintosh. Some of us have Android phones, all kinds of different brands, etc. You have a lot of opportunities to install apps on your phones, whether you want to monitor your health to improve the quality of your life, what you're eating, how to lose weight, how to get in shape, how to learn to speak Thai, self-improvement, how to drink less, quit smoking, how to organize your lives. These devices can be extremely helpful. There's even apps to help you use your phone less. So try to use the devices in ways that are truly helpful and not just eating up your time. I'm going to go through a few few tools I think are extremely helpful, and I'm going to hit on one that Ren spoke on, which is YouTube. You may not be aware, but YouTube search engine is the second largest search engine in the world. Only Google is larger. So if you are looking on how to do something, how something works, YouTube is a fantastic tool. You could learn virtually anything, and it's free. There's endless amounts of education and entertainment available on YouTube, even full movies, videos. You can subscribe to channels to avoid some of the ads, and there's several other ways you can minimize the amount of ads you'll see on that. But YouTube is a great way to learn about virtually anything. Sorry, we don't have video in this. Sure, if we have HDMI, we can do that. If we had Bluetooth, it would be even easier. Not restarting. Okay. Apologize. One moment. So while Ren is trying to reconnect my laptop to display it here, let me move on to another topic. I brought several devices here today if anybody's interested to see some of the small devices that can enhance your experience here, from a mobile LCD monitor that can be carried in a handbag to give you twice as much real estate if you have a small condo. They don't need external power. It literally looks like a notebook, and yet it can triple the size of your screens. I also have several devices I wanted to display for you here. One is a smart box. Now, a smart box is basically a way to take an Android operating system. It's put into a small device that acts like a phone, except it connects through an HDMI cable to your television. Very similar to how a smart TV works, except you've got a lot more features available: Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. It's a hotspot. It's an internal database. So these are available very cheaply at Tucon Mall, for example. I think it's 1,600 baht. It's a good way to update a little bit older TVs that can't use, don't have the capability to be a smart TV. Also allows you to run any app that you'd run on your phone. So it's a big step up from being able to just watch a video or a pre-installed app to having virtually anything you want on your home television. One of the advantages of using that smart box is if you have Netflix, for example. Netflix, I believe, runs for about 280 baht last time I checked per month for the base services. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. Yeah, this is challenging. One moment. Let me go to what I'm speaking on. I'll go back. Okay. Apologize for the presentation delay there. This is what a smart box would look like. It's just a small box. It needs power to the wall and a cable. Plug it in. You can do virtually anything you can do on your phone except make calls. And it allows you to have a lot of extra features. Now, I mentioned Netflix as an example. If you have a Netflix account, you could play it on your TV here. But the advantage is, if you have a Netflix account and it's on an Android phone, it costs you 99 baht, not 280 baht a month. So you have a lot more flexibility with some services. Any of the games, any of the special features that you might want to install on your phone can easily be displayed on your home television. Okay, let me move back here. Bear with me for a minute. Back on track. So social media is used by everybody today. It's unavoidable, and it's got a lot of benefits, but like all technology, there's good and there's bad. Please be aware that there's health risks to using social media. Don't make it your best friend. Use it in a healthy way. Avoid making phone more important than people around you. Try to limit your use per day. Shut down your phone at certain times of the day, or at least turn it silent to give you some peace away from the phone. This is becoming more and more known to be concerning for your health. Watching movies. We're all bored if we're in lockdown or stuck at home a lot. There's a lot of services that are available for you to watch lots of television shows. I couldn't even begin to name all the channels that are available, from Crackle to Netflix, many free channels, some are pay channels. if we're in other countries, your cable services are quite high. I find I'd rather watch what I want to watch when I want to watch it. So I'm just pointing out some of the more simple options right now. What we want to do is use technology, or I want to show you a few of the technologies that are not all that well known. They're very helpful. I'm just going to point out a few here that I find very useful while I'm living in Padia. This one goes along with what Ren was speaking of, which is an app for seniors, people that have disabilities, to enhance the phone. The phone has just lots of different screens, lots of different options. It's very confusing at times. It's overwhelming how much information you can be fed. There are apps that you can download in order to simplify the phone, give you the features that you want very easily available. Sorry. So one of the features that is available is an SOS feature that Ren was speaking about. In this case, this particular app, it's the Necta launcher. It has an SOS feature where you can hold your hand over the phone 3 times and it'll automatically call someone. So as Ren mentioned, there are several different variations of what can trigger an emergency call to someone, but highly recommend you use this feature in one shape or another. One of the features I found recently that I find very useful is the ability to take money out of your ATM via ATM without your card. Say you forgot your card at home, you lost your card, you have an emergency situation, you have someone who has just gone to pick up something at the store and they ran out of money, they call you. If you log into your bank's website, there is an option to use a cardless ATM withdrawal. It'll ask you how much money you'd like to take out. It'll provide you with a passcode that you can then go to an ATM. Normally it's going to ask you, you're going to put in your ATM card at that point, but on the screen there'll be an option to use a cardless withdrawal. When you click on that, it'll ask for a passcode. You put in that passcode, the money you already pre-authorized will be presented to you. This is a very nice feature. It does require you to go to the bank and enable this feature, but I find it very helpful to know that's available. Another technology not many people are aware of is a MiFi device. Basically, it's a mobile Wi-Fi or mobile hotspot. Let's say you are going on a trip and you go to a hotel, you go to the beach, you go to a coffee shop. This allows you to use your own wireless network wherever you are. It does require a SIM card, but it has a lot of advantages in the sense that you're never using a public network. If you have a home internet service provider with a cable box, those are usually quite expensive, quite a lot more expensive than these devices. It provides the same service as having a home ISP service, but you can take it with you anywhere you want to go with no hassles. It's quite a bit more secure than having your home network, and certainly more secure than going to a coffee shop or anywhere in public. So I recommend checking out these devices. It can also save you money if you have a family of 2 or 3 people and you all need data plans. This covers a lot of several phones without having to have separate services on all those phones. I spoke on this a few minutes ago, SmartBox. Again, very helpful. Allows you to easily transition from, allows you to transition from using your phone to your home television, your home network, and all be in sync without having to convert to a Windows box or any other devices, any other services. Most of us have some kind of backup system, hard drive, USB drive. One of the recent technology changes is going from the SSD drives that we've all seen. They're kind of bulky. They do back up. They're a little bit slow. These are faster memory chips that have become very inexpensive in the last few years. So they are a lot faster, very small, and very portable. The name of them, NVESSD, is kind of a new term most of us probably haven't heard of. Anyways, the point of these is that they are the best way I've found to be able to back up your data, your personal data, on your phone, your laptop. They'll run at speeds that are 7 times faster to 100 times faster than your current USB devices or external hard drives. They don't require a data cable. They easily fit in your pocketbook or your phone. I recommend using that once a week, once a month to back up all of your data. And rather than taking an hour or two, it could take 30 seconds. That's very quick. The pricing of these varies, but for a 1 terabyte drive, $140 is a worthy investment. Most of us, if we tried to back up your whole computer, that might be 8 terabytes. But what you want to back up with this type of device is your actual personal data. So here we're getting into how we back up our data, how we protect ourselves. I probably want to wait until the end because I might have more to say than I have time. Put a lot on the screen. It's showing a shopping list of how to essentially protect your data. I'm going to cover a few of these in detail, but these are items that you can do. Many of them are common sense. A lot of them we don't all do on a regular basis. I'll run through them quickly, but patching your devices and using internet security apps are the most important thing. If you can't have the right applications installed, the right security and patches on your device, you might as well leave your front door open at home. You're very vulnerable. Hackers very frequently monitor what security patches are being deployed, and they know most people won't update those security flaws for weeks or months. So they will focus on the most recent security issues. When you go to that coffee shop and you're connecting, when Microsoft puts out those updates, hackers love it because they tell them exactly how to break in your laptop by doing it. Avoid using public Wi-Fi networks whenever possible. I'll pull up a video here in a moment to explain some of the basics of why it's bad. It's the most risky thing you can do with your device. Try to use what's called a VPN, virtual private network, while you're online, especially with sensitive data. It does tend to slow down your device just a little bit, but it can enhance your experience online, believe it or not. It's a way to protect your data, first off, but if you're using a VPN, you can emulate you're anywhere in the world. If I have a VPN from here to Japan or here to the US, no one on the other side knows I'm in Thailand. They think I'm in Japan or in the US. That becomes important because if a website decides, like American Social Security, for example, to get into their website, you have to be in the United States. Well, you use the VPN into Dallas. From there, I can access the website because the end website believes I'm coming from Dallas. Netflix, another small example. If I log in with a VPN and I'm VPNing into Netflix to watch movies from Dallas, I get a different movie list than I get if I'm using Netflix in Thailand. That has to do with copyrights in different regions of the world. Many different reasons to use VPN. Try to turn off your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth whenever possible. Those are, again, like leaving your front door open. There's lots of vulnerabilities to those two services. If you're on a Wi-Fi network and you're connected to a known network, your risks are a little less. But keep in mind, those Wi-Fi networks are auto-connect. Once you connect to a network, even the one in this building, for example, the next time you walk in that building, if you have Wi-Fi on, it will automatically connect. It's connecting based on the SSID and the password. If they haven't changed, it's going to automatically connect. That's very risky. I'll explain that in more detail in a moment. Whenever you use browser, Firefox, Edge, Internet Explorer, always log off a web page before you close it. They're two very different things. If you log off your connection to Netflix, for example, the next time that browser tries to go to that page, it's going to ask you for authentication. You can manually log in. If it's cached credentials where you're going to auto log in, and the next time you click on Netflix, it came up automatically logged in, that means the browser remembered your credentials. While it's convenient, it's got security risks. One of those security risks I'll talk about in more detail in a moment. Back up your data. This is probably the most overlooked way to protect your data. If your devices gets damaged, lost, stolen, you need to have a backup of that critical data. Whether you back it up to the cloud or you back it up on an external device like I mentioned a moment ago, it's up to you, but I suggest you do both. Back it up to the cloud, back it up to something local. If it's backed up to the cloud, maybe you deleted something on your hard drive and you don't know where you put it. There's many reasons why you would like to have that data on a physical device that sits offline most of the time, yet you have access to it. This is another big one that I'm going to touch on in detail, is using a password program rather than trying to remember all the passwords we're expected to have today. I think I've touched on most of these that are important. One other item I want to mention is don't be click happy. When you're on the internet and you're browsing, be aware of what you're clicking on. And I don't mean, what the picture looks like. I mean, what website you're on. Do I trust that website? Is that information on the page something I really need to do? Just clicking without realizing what you're clicking on can cause a lot of concerns. There are hackers, advanced hackers. If you click on a picture, they now have access to your complete computer without your knowledge or any warnings whatsoever. Installing good security software can help protect that and stop that from happening, or at least give you awareness that notification that someone attempted to do that. Here's a section I could go on quite a while on this one, but technologies that are soon to be part of our daily life. We all know 5G technology is available. Thailand's actually further ahead than most countries in deployment and, sorry, it's here. 5G allows a lot of the applications out there that have been hindered or had limits because of bandwidth speeds to be developed to the next level. So we're going to see software improve quite a bit as they deploy 5G networks in the next few years. So I expect the internet to evolve drastically in the next 5 years as 5G networks are deployed. Artificial intelligence is something that's kind of an obscure title, but as computers get smarter and eventually within the next few years are expected to be smarter or achieve the ability to think faster than humans can, they're going to start replacing major roles that will impact our lives in a way we couldn't even imagine today. Whether we're talking to a doctor or talking to a computer or a robot that's become your doctor, major changes are coming very soon. With lockdowns, COVID-19, and technology in general for the last 5 years has been moving more and more toward remote services being available. People are working from home, and the services are working from home. You're calling, Netflix for support. You may be getting, a technician that's working from his bedroom for the last 3 months. These things are really having an impact on how we use technology and how it's shared around the world. Homes are becoming smart homes where everything in the home is becoming connected. Pretty soon, we'll be having our homes, toasters, lights, air conditioning, heating systems, security systems, all interconnected. It'll tell us when our kids get home. It'll tell us it'll give us a lot of opportunities to monitor our homes, some good and some bad features of all of this. Monetary changes with cryptocurrencies. Monetary currencies are going to change. Having better understanding of technology can help us understand this, use this, and even invest in it where needed much better. One technology I find very entertaining is smart glasses. Literally, rather than carrying your phone, you can put on a pair of glasses that will allow you to see in the screen what you would normally see on your phone. I have a little talk on that for a moment. Anyhow, there are huge medical breakthroughs going on in technology. They will impact all of our lives very soon. Spoke a moment ago on smart glasses and contacts. So the ability to not have to carry your phone around is how technology is evolving. There are human interfaces now where computers are actually interfacing with people. But this step is available now. Rather than carrying your phone, they have a necklace or a wristband, which is a Bluetooth device connected to a contact. The processor is in the remote device, but the graphics you will see in front of your eyes, and there's a lot of it's almost unlimited what it can present to you. You want to get directions, you don't have to take your eyes off the road. You have problems with vision, depth perception, colorblind. These can all be adjusted by enhancements of software that you're putting on your eye. Okay.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm fascinated by all this, right? But I know some people have some questions, especially perhaps about security and stuff that Bud's already tested. And we've got Daryl to give a talk as well. So I thought this might be a chance to pause Bud's talk, ask any questions on me or Bud that you have, and then maybe we'll have Daryl's talk, and then we'll maybe come back to this. My God, it's green. Thank you. This talk. So I know somebody had a question about something Bud had said.
I download movies in my apartment in a condo. It nags me a few times that I should have a VPN. I don't know what it means, by the way, but is that important that I should have one?
Yes, it's important that you should have one. I do have a couple of slides on VPNs, but it allows you to have a remote connection to some location. It's a secured connection or perception of security between two endpoints. So if you have a VPN, the VPN is a software installed on your device. It allows you to connect to another endpoint, and if there is a hacker nearby your location, they can't see the data because it's encrypted. Okay?
So one of the things about that, it sounds like to me, I should get a VPN specifically if I'm doing online banking and bring the VPN in when I'm doing the online banking. Is that something you might recommend?
Absolutely. Anytime you're using any kind of sensitive data, online banking, believe it or not, it's very helpful to secure all your transactions, all your data. But keep in mind, if you don't have a VPN and someone has access to the network you are on locally, very likely they could find a way to see all of the data you're sending.
And so you're particularly vulnerable. This is something I didn't know. You're particularly vulnerable on public Wi-Fi. Why is that?
So I touched on it a little bit, but public Wi-Fi has great value. You can go anywhere and connect. Where it has security risks is it's public. So everyone knows the username and everyone knows the password to get on that network. So you're all sharing the same network. If a hacker is sitting in this room and we're all on the same Wi-Fi network, he can install software on his device that allows him to see all the traffic from everyone on that network. Now, some of it can be encrypted. Some of it can be secured in different ways. But if you're not on the same network, then he can't see it. So if at all possible, don't go on public networks. If you do get on public networks, use a VPN.
So I'm better off just staying on, not using a public Wi-Fi, but staying on my true internet provider.
Yes. My suggestion, I personally use it, get a data plan on your phone so that you don't have to use a public network. Okay? If you get an unlimited plan, for example, I have AIS with unlimited data per month.
How much does that cost?
I'm on the grandfather plan. It's about 500 baht a month. I think the new price is about 750 baht a month. But when you consider you can use that data plan on most modern phones, you can have a hotspot on it. I don't have a home connection. I can stream movies and Netflix on my TV, on my other devices at home with the same data plan. So it's basically your internet connection wherever you are, and you have a connection whether you're sitting at the beach, driving in a car up in Phetchabun, or sitting in a coffee shop here. It provides you a lot of security for a relatively small amount of money. By the way, the VPN software, it's usually a separate piece of software you can buy. There are free VPNs, but to purchase it is extremely cheap. There's very good quality VPNs out there. Something like, I paid 600 baht for 3 years for 10 devices.
Wow. Can you remember the brand name of the VPN?
I use AVG because it's part of a suite where there's
ABG.
V. At
Oh,
the-
AVG. A lot of you will probably have that software anyway because don't they have some sort of free internet security to a certain extent, AVG as well?
Yes, most of the security software has free internet, free use for a while, or basic services that are free. It's to get the full suite. There are certain fees, but if you're interested, I can show you ways to get big discounts. Again, knowing technology really helps you. You can go directly to the website and pay $70 for a 1-year license for one product, or if you know some ways to get the discounts, buy it on Amazon or during certain sales, you can get the entire package for $20 for 10 devices. So it's very inexpensive to get good security on your phone or your home PCs.
I had a question. What is a MiFi device? Because this didn't come up, this slide.
Okay, so this slide is a MiFi device. It's mobile Wi-Fi. They call it MiFi. So
It's like a little box or something, is it?
it's a very small box, and basically it allows a wireless hotspot to be used from this box to serve as internet connection for anything in your home or anything you want nearby.
So you can take that anywhere. If you have a family, they can all use the same hotspot. They don't need separate data plans.
Correct.
Blah,
correct.
blah, blah.
What's unique about this is this isn't connected to a physical landline. This has a SIM chip in it, an AIS SIM chip, for example. So you'll have a service plan to this device, and from there you might have a number of devices connecting to that, whether it be other family members or your television, other devices in your home.
I think we should pause it there and let Daryl tell us about the website. But give a huge round of applause, and we'll be getting this amazing guy back to teach us more about these things, and we'll try to put some links, relevant links, on the next newsletter and stuff. Well done, amazing. I learned a lot, and I've got some New Year's tech resolutions to come out of that. Thank you. Daryl, you're on.
Question.
Oh, sorry, question? Another question?
Well, the only question I want to ask is, when your phone or a computer or printer is knackered, finished, what do you do with it? I mean, there's so many of these items finish up in Nigeria, and they're stripping out the memory.
Yeah, that's a good question, because I do deal with that a lot with big companies. First of all, when you're done with it, I recommend backing whatever was on there up. You may have forgotten to take something off, so save that data onto an archive file somewhere on an external drive that you're keeping. And then to destroy it, take out the hard drive and destroy it. Literally, smash it, make it unusable. Even then, just hitting it a couple times with a hammer may not be enough. There are ways to wipe the data, but there are also many ways to recover that wiped data. So if you throw it in the garbage thinking you deleted everything, I can pretty much guarantee you if a hacker gets a hold of it, they can recover all the data on that device. Physically destroying it is the only way to permanently destroy it so that nobody can recover it. As far as what to do with the physical device, it is, how do I say, those are supposed to be thrown away in certain type of dumps because there are a lot of dangerous material in there. Also some value material in there, but I hope I answered your question.
Any more?
You'll forgive me, I'm going to sit down because I have some back problems, and standing for extended periods is between a little bit of pain. So I can get my presentation up there. As you know, we've developed a new website. We went online with it in September, and we're using a platform that the club obtained for the membership database. It turns out it had a website provisions. Do I have the clicker? Okay, thank you. Okay, based on Wildlife platform, which has our membership database, PCEC website, and of course the events module, which we were using for registration when we were using it. The new website, we do not need a professional webmaster, so we're no longer paying one. It's easier to navigate, and it provides information both for expats in Thailand and those who wish to enter or consider living in Thailand. Okay, here's the contents. Take time, read it, look it over. It gives you an idea of what is on the website. The the home page, there's where you have your links to our discount places. The About the Club, that's basically just the history, governing board, our constitution. Club events, this is one that you may find of interest because it gives you the current meeting, upcoming meeting. It also gives you the future meetings as we have them planned. And of interest, you remember a particular presentation, you want to see the YouTube video, but you, rather than going to YouTube and searching for it, if you go to the events page, scroll down to the past presentations, and then you will go down to the meeting date topic, click on it, and the links will be there. Club activities basically has several things listed, but the main thing is it does have the link to the special interest groups, although most of them currently are, I would say, not functioning. The newsletter, you can use the link, subscribe to the newsletter, and a link to read the current newsletter. As soon as I issue the newsletter, I put the link on the website. Immigration, this is a big section, and it's useful for both people who live here, the expats, as well as those that are visiting, and I will mention more of that when I get into navigating. Take an opportunity to look to see what the contents are. Okay, the entered in immigration, we have the re-entry permit. Okay, you'll see it covers extending stay, that would be of interest to those that live here. Re-entry permit, if you're not familiar with the process, we give the information. Address reporting is a area, it has sub-pages showing the types of reports. Document legalization is something, if you are required by immigration to legalize a document, this tells you where to do it, and it also has a link to where they tell you how you can do it by mail. Overstay penalties, that's pretty much whatever we put on the slide. Okay, at the bottom of the Thai immigration section is a checklist, extensions of stay. So that's of importance. Most of us live here. I try to keep it updated based on reports coming from people from immigration. But basically there are 4 checklists, 2 for retirement, 2 for marriage, and what they do is one is for the financial requirements, 800K or the monthly income. The other is and it's for both marriage and retirees. And for those that want to use a combo method for retirees, then it has, it just tells you to use both checklists. Okay, the living in Thailand section has quite a bit of information. It has banking and some information there. I'll comment a little bit more about that as I get into the navigating portion. The banking section has transferring money into Thailand. Social Security direct deposit for Americans, and also for Americans the required reporting through the financial, your bank accounts, etc. Healthcare. The healthcare contains information of interest to expats. There's something, if you're interested, what assisted living facilities there are around Padilla. We do have them listed with a link to them that we know about. There are subpages with information on what qualifies for discounts at Bangkok Padilla Hospital and Payatai Sriracha. We have expat recommended providers in that section. So if you click on that, it will take you to a list of where people, members, other expats, have recommended particular medical advisors. And if you have a recommended doctor or facility that you'd like listed, let me know. Okay, navigating the website. This is the part that I want to show you because it's easy. And the key is, remember to hover your cursor over where you want to go, or over these topics. Okay, this is the home page. If you see across the top, there's the contents pages, and that login section has a don't do because we're not using that feature. It does, basically it's where those that are in the membership database can log in, but we don't use it. However, if sometime later we want to create a section on the web page or website strictly for members, we could enable this feature and you'd have to log in to see it. Okay. The club events section, I've already mentioned about it, the upcoming events. You need to scroll down. It'll show you your past, and it does have the links to the video if you click on those. And it, by the way, that page does cover things besides the meetings. Okay, the newsletter, as I mentioned, if you anyway, the red button at the top, read the current newsletter, just click on it. It'll take you to the one that's the latest newsletter, and the bottom one, subscribe. If you don't have a newsletter and you want to subscribe to it, you click on it. Okay, the immigration, I'm switching over to it to give you an idea what's there. If you notice, if you hover your cursor over Thai immigration, you will get this drop-down menu. The drop-down menu will show you what is subpages, and if there's a red dot next to the subpage, that means there are subpages to that page. It's very easy. You don't have to click on anything. You don't have to go through the pages. You just simply hover over the section. And if you notice, if you click on visa exempt stuff, you just, this is a sub-menu, and if you click on it, you can go direct to that page. So basically hover, find what you're looking for, click on it, you'll go to the page. In the Living in Thailand section, here it gives you an idea again. Hover, see what's there, then hover over the particular section. For example, driving vehicles, you'll get a sub-menu, and if you notice, the top item on the sub-menu is Thai driving license. So if you need to renew your license, want to see what's currently required, just hover over Living in Thailand, driving vehicles, and click on Thai driving license. And this is a recap of what I've just mentioned. Again, it shows you hover, click on your topic, click on the subpage, and then if it has subpages, click on it. In this particular example, let's say that you're a U.S. citizen and you're getting ready for Social Security, you want to know how you apply or information on how to contact the Philippines office that handles Social Security here. You just simply go hover over Living in Thailand, banking, transfer funds, Social Security direct deposits, and it will give you the information there because you can now direct deposit your Social Security to Thailand, to a bank in Thailand. That gives you that information. So Bangkok Bank, New York, it also explains they do still have a procedure in which you can transfer funds, but it's cumbersome, but it's all explained there. So that's the recap. Are there any questions? Gee, I must have done a good job. As it relates to a VPN, I use one. I use IPVanish, but I can put 5 devices on it. I have to pay for it, yes, annual subscription. But the key thing that Bud mentioned and I'll mention is what a VPN does is it connects you to a server in another country that belongs to that VPN service. And when you connect to that, and Bud will correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a computer geek, but when you connect to that particular server, for example, I can connect to the United States, I can connect to Singapore, I can connect, and once you connect to that server, your URL that goes out to whoever you're accessing gives that server URL. So they think you're in that country. And I find being in the United States comes in handy, especially if I'm using my U.S. credit cards to buy something, because a lot of times it won't go through if you have a Thailand URL or in some other countries. So just simply putting it on the United States. And as Bud mentioned, there are some services like, I guess, Netflix and some others that you can access the U.S. portion of it. Okay, that's it. No questions? Good.
A little token of our thanks. Darryl, come on, here. Come and pretend you're my friend and stand next to me, please. I can't put... Social distancing. Thank you. Just before I hand back to Bud, John, have you been able to forward that email to me? Did you forward that email to me? Because it wasn't on my phone just now. Okay, excuse me, but I think online.
It will allow you to keep all your passwords in one location, all your password-related information, your username, the link, the proper link, any passcodes, keywords, things like that, into one file. You only need to remember one password that unlocks access to your own encrypted file on your hard drive. So it alleviates you having to remember 15 passwords. It can auto be cut and pasted into the websites when you go to log in. You can use it to cut and paste your information so you don't have typo mistakes. Very efficient. Also, God forbid something was to happen to you, you need to share this password and this information of how to log in and get your passwords with someone that cares about you or a executor of your estate. I've heard of many problems where people have wills, as Ren pointed out. You know, you need to take care of you and people around you. If people cannot access your financials, your information, that will delay any kind of estate closure. The password programs are very, very simple. Most of them are free, very easy to use. Again, this is the most secure file you would have on your computer, so you want to make sure you protect that. There are ways to keep that external if you want on another drive, but be aware this is the one place you want to be very safe on your device. The encryption on this is very high, so you're pretty well protected, but I use layers of encryption. So I have a security software on my device that has something called a vault. So you put all your sensitive information in this vault, which is encrypted. Your hard drive should be encrypted. So now I have encrypted hard drive with a vault encrypted with a secret file encrypted. So it's triple encrypted. It sounds complicated. It's really not that big a deal, but it will deter hackers from even attempting it because it'll take them years to break it. Last topic I want to point out and show it visually, which helps, is a VPN connection. As Daryl pointed out, VPN is point to point. So whether you're connecting to the United States, or you're connecting to wherever you're going, the connection is secured between your device, which has the VPN software, and some endpoint. Now, the endpoint is usually not the server on the other side. It may be in a private network at Netflix. It may be in a data center. It could be anywhere. You could actually have a VPN that goes to New York City to get to a website that goes to Australia. That's fine. It's not really efficient, but it will work because the intent of that is to protect your local information from anyone who's local on this network here from being able to sniff, capture the traffic, and then decipher it. Most VPN software, as I mentioned, is free. It's very inexpensive. Covered that. So this diagram, I think, will help bring it out a little clearer. Say this is an example of a coffee shop, and the blue lines represent anything that's encrypted. The red lines are unencrypted traffic. So for this purposes, the other laptop is a hacker, and we are sitting at this coffee shop, and the blue line shows that I'm trying to connect to, I'm using my VPN to connect to a device out on the internet. That device is not necessarily at the endpoint, okay? But the traffic locally is encrypted so that the hacker sitting in this room cannot get it, okay? You can't generally protect your data the entire way back and forth. But this hacker isn't able to call someone on the other end to say, oh, sniff this traffic. It just doesn't work that way. So any questions we have on VPNs or public Wi-Fi? I can recommend several. AVG is one I use, but there are several I'll be glad to provide and put in a follow-up on the website. Okay. By the way, it's extremely easy to use VPN software. You have your computer turned on, you're on the web, you can either, you simply tell it where do you want to connect to, Sydney, Australia, New York City. You try to find a VPN connection closest to your endpoint, or that solves your communication problem. For example, if you're trying to go to a website in America that won't allow connections from outside of the U.S., then you'll have to connect to one of 25 different sites in the United States. When you connect, there's nothing to do but click on the button and you are connected. You can set it up to automatically connect anytime you're on the internet, so it's pretty much plug and play, no issues.
Yeah, are you happy with this new credit card that you just pass it over something in a store and it registers whatever you want to buy?
The
To me,
credit cards that are
it's
anonymous credit cards, you mean? Swipe and pay. Am I happy with it? It depends on your point of view, but I see advantage of it. There's less tracking. I see why people would want to use it. Is it safe from a security point of view? I can't tell you. It's going to depend on the company itself, how secure that is, how reliable they are, how financially stable they are. I can't really say on that. From a technical perspective, sure, it's safer than going to the store and using your credit card that you have that's associated with your bank account, because you have a limit on these cards that's predetermined. So, yeah, I don't see a problem with using it.
It's very popular with the banks, and the banks are covering losses from it because cash is very expensive for banks. You know, they have to transport it, they have to count it all the time, they have to hire staff to hand it out, and so they want to move to a cashless society as much as possible, the banks.
Yes, but isn't the availability of this restricted to 1,000 baht? They'll only allow you to scan on small amounts.
Yeah, I don't know what the situation is in Thailand. I'm more familiar with how it's working in Australia, where it's very, very popular.
I've used it regularly here, and if I'm trying to scan for 1,200 baht, it won't allow it.
Thank goodness I use cash.
Cash still works.
It can be, but people still want to use it. I'll be dead probably when it's cash is on the way out.
I think that's a wrap. Thank you so much, but I learnt heaps from that. I'm going to get a VPN.
Just the certificate to thank you very much for your extremely informative talk today. Oh yes. Guess who forgot what she's supposed to be doing? Now I have to call on the other half. Notice the other half, who's going to do the second